Once hailed as the destroyer of the world's top wingers, Kyle Walker is now facing a challenging phase in his career at its peak. Walker possesses not only exceptional speed, but also solid defensive abilities, frustrating even the world's leading attacking stars. He is the steel shield on Man City's right flank, always maintaining stability and playing a crucial role in Pep Guardiola's ever-evolving tactics. However, at 34, Walker's form has begun to decline, putting Manchester City in a worrying situation, especially considering the Etihad Stadium team's extremely poor performance over the past 2 months. The weakness started to become apparent when Walker could no longer maintain his previous burst of speed, a factor that was once his weapon in sprints with opposing forwards. In addition, the lack of accuracy in reading situations also makes him easily exploited in important matches. Seemingly small mistakes have serious consequences, especially when opponents constantly exploit Man City's right flank. For an ambitious team, instability at right back can be a fatal weakness in title races. In previous seasons, when Pep Guardiola's side showed dominance in the domestic league, Kyle Walker was considered one of the fastest defenders in the world. He stood out not only for his speed, but also for his solid defensive skills and his comprehensive ability to go up and down the field. Walker's peak was probably in the 2022 to 2023 season when he reached an impressive speed of 37.31 kilometers per hour, setting the fastest record in Premier League history. This speed helped the English defender regularly win sprints against top forwards, becoming a steel wall on Man City's right flank. However, the current 2024 to 2025 season has witnessed a marked decline in both the club's performance and the players' strengths. In the past 12 Premier League matches, the team has conceded 17 goals, an average of 1.42 goals per game, a figure that shows the defending champion's severe crisis. What's more, this number of goals conceded is equal to Crystal Palace, a team struggling at the bottom of the table. Notably, in this season, Kyle Walker has started 12 matches in the Premier League, but only achieved an average rating of 6.6 according to statistics from Soccer24. While this figure isn't too bad, it's not commensurate with the expectations for a world-class player. That average score reflects inconsistent performances as Walker is no longer the reliable stopper he once was. According to the latest statistics from TalkSport, his top speed has only reached 33.6 kilometers per hour, ranking 80th among the fastest players in the English League. This is a marked decline, making Kyle Walker no longer the destroyer in sprints with opposing forwards. Speed, which was his greatest advantage, is now becoming the player's weakness, making him more vulnerable in counter-attacking situations. Consider the tense 1-1 draw when Man City met Newcastle in the 6th round of the Premier League. Quick counterattacks were the main weapon of the St James Park home team, but Kyle Walker no longer showed the same solidity as before. In that match, the English fullback was rated 7.3 by SofaScore, much lower than his counterpart on the opposite flank, Josko Guardiola. The heat map shows that the player was more prominent in the opposition's half rather than the home team's defensive area. And statistics also show that he only had 2 successful interceptions during more than 90 minutes of play. This is a big problem for Pep Guardiola's team, as Walker's stability was once a key element in their control and pressing style. Or in the match between Man City and Fulham, the sprint between Kyle Walker and Adama Traoré in early October became one of the highlights that many fans were interested in. Data from the Premier League homepage shows that Walker reached a speed of 31.4 kilometers per hour in this race, but still lost to the Spanish player who reached a speed of 33.8 kilometers per hour. This statistic shows that Kyle Walker no longer maintains the Speed King status as before, a clear sign of the decline in the 34-year-old star's defensive ability. He only averages 1.84 tackles per 90 minutes, a low figure compared to the standards of top defenders in the Premier League. An important factor that demonstrates the ability to read situations and anticipate opponents' intentions. The number of interceptions is also only 0.35. Even in statistics about escaping pressing, Kyle Walker only reaches 0.92 times per game, a rather modest performance compared to previous seasons. With a squad that favors ball control and high pressing, the Englishman's right flank was once the fulcrum for smooth ball deployment and preventing dangerous counterattacks. But indecisive clearances, slowness in following opponents, and inaccuracy in reading situations have made Walker no longer the steel shield Man City once boasted. The cause of this decline can stem from many factors, including age and constant competitive pressure. According to the latest source, Kyle Walker is said to have endured pain to play for the Etihad Stadium team for the past month. At 34, his ability to sprint and maneuver in one-on-one situations has significantly decreased. This makes it easy for opponents to exploit Man City's right flank, especially in quick counterattacking situations. Kyle Walker's decline not only affects the team's defensive performance, but also puts Pep Guardiola in a difficult position. Manchester City is a team that favors a ball control and high-pressing style of play, requiring a fullback with strong defensive abilities but still ensuring speed to support the attack. Although recent statistics have not been as positive as before, his experience and class are still factors that the Spanish coach needs to stabilize the team's situation. However, if he doesn't improve his form soon, Kyle Walker could face the risk of losing his starting position to younger and more dynamic defenders. With a dense schedule and pressure from many fronts, Man City cannot let mistakes linger. For Walker, this is not only a difficult season, but also a time when he needs to prove that he is still an important part of Pep Guardiola's operating machine. The figure of 17 goals conceded in the past 12 games not only reflects the lack of solidity in the defense, but also a warning about deeper problems in the tactical system. This season, the high pressing and ball control of the blue half of Manchester have not operated smoothly. Uncoordinated defensive combinations, lack of concentration in set-piece situations, and reduced long-range interception ability have made Man City more vulnerable than ever. The biggest challenge for coach Pep Guardiola at the moment is to find a way to rebuild the defense. The absence of midfielder Rodri in the early part of the season showed his importance in the role of a defensive midfielder. But relying too much on one individual is also a weakness that Man City needs to overcome. Coach Pep Guardiola certainly needs to restore the understanding between the central defenders, while adjusting tactics to reduce pressure on the defense in the context of opponents increasingly reading the team's operation. The disastrous 0-4 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur was not only Man City's heaviest defeat under coach Pep Guardiola, but it also clearly exposed the holes in the team's defensive system. The midfield lacked control, while the defense constantly made mistakes, creating opportunities for opponents to exploit. Kyle Walker had a disappointing performance in this match when he encountered many difficulties in coping with the speed and flexibility of Tottenham's attacking players, especially with the combination of James Maddison and Son Heung-min on the opposite side. Post-match statistics show that Walker only made 0.2 successful dribbles per 90 minutes, the lowest number in the English players' playing history. This decline not only affects Walker individually, but also negatively impacts Manchester City's entire defensive system. Certainly, coach Pep Guardiola will have to make adjustments to fill the gap on the right flank and, more broadly, the team's entire defensive system, if they cannot completely address these loopholes. Despite being a monster in recent seasons, Man City can be completely subdued by the very mistakes they rarely made. Although Walker still has value thanks to his experience and influence in the dressing room, the pressure from young talents or potential replacement options is gradually becoming clear. Manchester City cannot take risks against increasingly harsh opponents in both domestic and European competitions.